Hello, let me talk about The Man Who Was by Rudyard Kipling, which I think is giving me more of a taste of Rudyard Kipling as a writer. This is um, a prisoner of war escapes back to his comrades story, and yes, it is a story where it starts off, we're talking all about this Russian correspondent who is a Cossack, who is very affable, is like definitely always buttering up the other side. This is in the context of Russia and Britain having been at war in the past. That comes up. But he's like all kind of sucking up to them. Oh, you're quite wonderful, all this sort of stuff. And, basically tolerated. There's definitely racial politics that go in here. Kipling, yet again, saying like, oh, Russians, they think they're the most easterly of Western people, but actually they're just the most westernly of Eastern people. They're an Asiatic, i.e. they're racially inferior to us Brits. And indeed, this is driven home by the fact that it's a meeting of the White Hussars in their mess tent, and they've just done I can't remember what sporting event. Is it rugby or not rugby? It's probably polo, where they actually do the great honor of inviting one of the actual Indian fellows who did it. He of course can't sit down to dinner with them. That would be, he is not a white person, so he's not allowed to have dinner with them. Durkovich, however, is able to be in there whether he's particularly welcome or not. So we're highlighting the kind of the racial divide there. And they've talked about how we keep on getting these thieves coming in and stealing our weapons. The Martini, it's quite a famous gun. It's the primo killing weapon at the moment, and is very valued by the locals to settle scores or for invading and for all that sort of stuff, their own grudges and things. So they're always doubling the guards, and they savagely beat the last guy who came in, and that actually cooled off the whole thieving for a while. But they caught in the middle of the thing. They caught someone, and for some reason the sergeant brings this guy in, and the guy starts crying. And at which point Singh, the Indian guy who's been allowed, awfully white of them, to kind of join them after dinner, says like he's crying like a white man, and he kind of lists out how the different ways that different peoples cry, and he's crying ow 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 like a white man. And it's discovered, yes, he is a white man, and what's more, he is someone, he recognizes a horse. He knows the old ways, like from like 30 years ago, old ways of how stuff is. And it comes to light that he is when they bear him and he's got all these marks on him, like, oh, these are the telltale, this is how Russians flog their slaves, their serfs. And yeah, he is Lieutenant Linneman, 30 years ago, presumed missing. And Durkovich is like, oh yeah, there was a mistake. He insulted a colonel in the Russian thing, and refused to apologize. And oopsie, we sent him to, instead of him being returned as a prisoner of war, he got sent to the country, and got sent like to buttfuck nowhere, like millions and millions of miles away. And the guy is so fucked up at this point, he doesn't particularly speak English, and when he sees Durkovich, he is fucking terrified. Like, he immediately cringes and is like, and they kind of haul him up again. And Durkovich is, the character of Durkovich, I think, really shows you kind of Rudyard Kipling's things, because Durkovich is the fucking evilest motherfucker you could ever have. And of course he is. And he's like, he has no pity, no shame for what's happened. It's like, it's a little mistake. It's a little mistake. You guys are all fucking little mistakes. Napoleon, that was just a little episode for us. We don't fucking care about any of this stuff. And of course he's a guest of the mess, so we wouldn't mistreat him. But we see him to the train station, and oh yeah, there goes the train. No, fuck off now. basically go away. This guy who somehow, God knows how, made his way back to his old nest, like almost like homing thing, completely messed up. Does actually, once they pull out the rolls and they ask him his name, they say, "Are you Linneman?" And it's like, and he kind of goes, "Yes, sir." "Oh, that's me, yes, sir." And then back into kind of just mush. He dies like 3 days later. But yeah, this is really one of these tales of like, oh, the gallant, wonderful Brits, the horrible, hard job that these imperial soldiers, empire soldiers have to do, and the fucking evil foreigners. It's just really makes me want to have a bath after reading this story. But yeah, that really gives you an idea of Kipling, of like how he's going to view anyone outside of the little tribe that he is in, especially the tribe of Indian, English soldiers. That's his group, and anyone outside can fuck off. Which, yeah, that's understandable, but it's like, if you're someone who's aspiring to be a writer who's gonna continue on, just like, this is so of this little space and time, just gross. And just, yeah, we're gonna get back there and we're gonna fucking fight the Russians. We're just gonna fucking lay them out. You can just see the kind of the thirst for that kind of an outcome happening from Kipling, which is just like, yeah, that's just what we need in the world. But this is where, so I'm starting to feel out my things with Kipling. Yeah, all right, I will leave it there.